Hey all, it's Starzy and today we are going to be doing my March wrap-up. It's freaking hot today, so I cannot sit here with a nice cup of tea and, you know, obviously my day is ruined. I guess for a bit of a general update, I started a new job in March, so I feel like going forward I might not be reading quite as much. And I also now have an actual stream schedule. If you didn't know, I stream on Twitch and I now stream 6 PM Tuesday nights, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So that's the day that I've been streaming every week if you ever want to come say hi. Otherwise, yeah, no other major changes outside of work. Let's just get right on into the things I read in March. So the very first thing that I finished in March, which actually started a lot of things in March that I didn't finish. The amount of books that I'm technically currently reading is ridiculous at this point. But in terms of things I actually finished, the first thing I finished I've already talked about, and it is one of my new favourite books, and that is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is a romance, and it's probably my favourite romance now. It's just the most wholesome romance I've ever read, and it's also funny and has like wholesome banter. But we're following Chloe Brown, who is chronically ill and has decided that she needs to get a life, and she makes herself a list and enlists Red's help in helping her to complete some things on that list. And obviously romance ensues, and he's like the, what's the term? He's like the attendant of her apartment building or something. I don't know. It was really great. It was just really great. And it was just so wholesome how they just supported each other, and the banter, especially like the email chain. The email chain just was beautiful. And I read this in pretty much one sitting, so that's how absorbed I was. Yeah, I feel like I've already spoken about this and I don't want to spend all day on it, so yeah, just a really good romance if you like romance. The next thing I read is actually a picture book because I read Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is illustrated by Kim Smith, and the illustrations in this are so cute, but is it something that probably needs to exist otherwise? Maybe not. I've mentioned before, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is like my favourite show ever, although lots of problems, especially with everything that's come out about Joss Whedon in recent months. Not a great human being, but yeah, I love Buffy, so I got this. It's like not canon because you're following like Xander, Willow and Buffy as children together. It's cute. The art is like the best thing about it, and it's also got those moments of, when you're like a big fan of something, it's got those moments of lots of things to recognize. I don't know, it's not necessarily a strong picture book though, even outside of, like, if you completely took it all, like, within looking at it as Buffy, it does some strange out of canon things, and even outside, taking it outside of that context, I don't think it's a particularly strong picture book, just like story and message wise. But it's still cute, and I don't regret having it because, like, it's just adorable. And yeah, because I liked Get a Life, Chloe Brown so much, I did go and get the next two. So I read Take a Hint, Dani Brown. This is basically like a trilogy of companion novels following each of the sisters. So this one's following Dani Brown, who is a bisexual witch. Love that. And her romance, and this has fake dating and kind of friends to lovers as well, I guess. I didn't like this one as much, but I still think it's a decent romance. I just wasn't as in love with it. I think I wasn't as attached to the characters, because when I finished Get a Life, Chloe Brown, I was so invested in those characters and made like lists about all the reasons I loved them. So yeah, I wasn't as into these characters. I don't know, but it was still fun. I think I gave this 4 out of 5. The other one, 5 out of 5. The Buffy picture book, I don't know, I might have given it 3 out of 5 for cuteness. I don't remember. But yeah, there were elements of this I liked. I feel like I feel like I read them all so close together, they blended a little bit. But like overall, this is still, I rank this like second out of the three of them. Because then I read Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and I think I gave this 3 out of 5. This was my least favorite, and I think one of the things was that I didn't really like the characters. Like, I like Eve, particularly in her sister's books, but I don't know, I wasn't really feeling the characters or their connection. And obviously, if you're not into the connection between the characters, like, it's a major component of a romance. This does have things though, like autism rep, so that's something, but I don't know, I just didn't really connect to this story, and I wasn't excited to pick it up like I was with the others. I was kind of just slogging through it a little bit at points, so I don't know that I even have a full explanation for that outside of, not connecting. Oh, that was the other thing. I didn't love the characters and their connection together, but the other thing was, just on a completely personal note of like, the smut scenes in this one weren't for me. They just weren't for me. Talia Hibbert does have some well-written, intimate scenes, but this one in particular just wasn't for me. That was the other thing it came down to, that I was just a little bit uncomfortable at points. So, yeah. But yeah, I read all 3 of these, decent romances, just wasn't in love with the last one personally, but I imagine other people are still loving it, and I've seen people still loving it, so that was more a me thing. And yeah, quality romances. I also actually finished another series this month. Look at me go. Technically, I've finished 2 series this month. But I've finished listening to his Dark Materials, so the End of Spyglass is the 3rd book in that children's fantasy series. I didn't really like this one. I love Northern Lights, the 1st book, like, that one is so good. 2nd ones, didn't love as much, but still enjoyable enough. This one was still enjoyable to listen to for the most part, just because the audiobooks have a full cast, so that makes them very interesting to listen to. But in terms of the specific content of this book, I think it came down to a few main things. I'm losing some of my sunlight. For one, this book kind of jumped around a lot and was trying to cover a lot of different things that were happening at once. So that was part of it. And then the other thing was the heavy religiousness to this. Religion has always been something that was discussed in these books, but when it came to this last one, like, it was just too much for me. It was just too much for me. And also just the characterization of some of the characters changed a bit in this last one as well. So all in all, don't love this. And it's kind of a bummer to me, because I loved the first one so much, so it kind of dampens the whole series a bit for me. I will say there was still that one moment that made me sad, because I mentioned that the first time I read this as a kid, I think this book did make me cry, because I've always been horrible with goodbyes, especially if they're really permanent. So, still felt a little bit sad, but overall, don't love this book, and I'm pretty sad about it. I then read a few comic books from my library. So, I've got three here. First of all, I have Gotham Academy 2nd Semester, Volume 2, The Ballad of Olive Silverlock, which I didn't realize that 2nd Semester is actually like a sequel to just Gotham Academy. All I read originally was Gotham Academy Volume 2. So clearly I've missed a bit of the story. But even so, this was okay. I really enjoyed the first volume, because that's the only other one I've read, the first volume of Gotham Academy, where we're following this group of teenagers essentially in a school in Gotham, you know, where Batman is. So you do get your cameos throughout the series of various well-known characters, but overall you're following these ones. There's often elements of mystery, there's often kind of creepy elements, etc. And yeah, I don't know, and I really enjoyed the first one, as I said. This one was just kind of okay, and looking at reviews, that's kind of a general consensus that this wasn't a really strong finish to it. At some point I'll go back and read the middle, but yeah, this was just okay. I still, you know, it's still a decent series overall, and the art is beautiful. One I really didn't like, Harley and Ivy meet Betty and Veronica. Now, I wasn't expecting much going into this. I thought it would just be a bit of fun, you know, wasn't expecting much, but it just really bothered me at points. So this is obviously a crossover between the Archie universe and DC Comics, and you have these characters interacting and shenanigans going on, and that was all fun and good, and at points there were some really nice, just fun moments. Like, you had things like, one of my favourite moments was when Catwoman was basically exposing herself as a fan of Josie of the Pussycats. That was great. There were some nice little moments like that. But then you also had things like the over-sexualization of teenagers and just characters not living up to their full potential. You know, Harley Quinn's like my favourite character, so I'm a little invested here. Yeah, didn't love it, especially how the teenagers were portrayed and how the teenagers are drawn. Like, Gotham Academy here, these are two comic books that are telling stories of teenagers, but starkly different in how they're done. One's definitely handled better. That is what I will say about that. So, I don't know, but I think I gave it a 2. The other one I read, which I actually gave, I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and Gotham Academy, I don't remember, maybe I gave 2.5 or 3? Maybe I gave 3 out of 5 to Gotham Academy? I don't remember. But I gave this a 4 out of 5, so I did quite enjoy this. This is Vision, which is a comic book run following Vision, but with his family of other synthezoids. Is that what they are? Synthezoids that he made. He made his own family. And something I really like about this is it just has that kind of creepy undertone to it, because it's, you know, these synthezoids in the suburbs. So that's sure to go well. And there are definitely things that go wrong, so it has that kind of creepy undertone to it, and I really enjoyed that. And it was just interesting to see, especially since obviously I watched WandaVision recently, and there's kind of some of those similar creepy family in the suburbs vibes. Yeah, so I did find this really interesting and do definitely want to read more of it eventually. The other book that I finished was another one I didn't really love, so it definitely had a bit of a mixed reading month, but that was Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. I'd never read a Karen Slaughter book before, so when I saw some of them were at my local library, I thought I'd just randomly pick one up. I think the writing is decent enough that I might give another one a try, but I didn't love this one. There wasn't necessarily much inherently wrong with it, I just wasn't really excited about it, and it took me a while to get through because I just wasn't wanting necessarily to pick it up, wasn't interested enough. But it's a story where you are following a woman who goes out to lunch with her mother one day, all normal, what have you, and then a kid comes in with a gun, and basically her mother's reaction to that situation makes her go a bit like, okay, who are you? You're clearly not my normal everyday mum that I thought you were, something else is going on. And this book also has kind of flashbacks to things that were going on in the past as well. So it was okay. It was okay. Well written enough. Not that exciting to me personally. That's just kind of how I felt. And also, I assume this is categorized as a thriller, but also wasn't really anything that necessarily surprised me either. So usually with those type of books, part of the thing is that you have surprises, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably try another Karen Slaughter eventually. If you have recommendations of one that I should read, because this one, it just felt very meh about. And that's where we're at. So that is everything that I read in March. In terms of what we've been watching, we've still been watching Critical Role, a lot of that. And then the only movies we've watched have been Marvel movies because we've started doing a Monday movie night, and that's what we've been watching. We've been watching through the Marvel movies, mostly in order. So I don't know whether probably won't really speak about them now because I might continue making Marvel videos. Maybe, even though it's been like 2 years. Just for reference, the movies we have watched, we watched Thor the Dark World, Captain America the First Avenger, Captain America the Winter Soldier, The Avengers. Yeah, that must be it. 5 weeks in the month, right? 5 Mondays in the month. Yeah, so they're the movies that we watched. Winter Soldier, probably the best of the Marvel movies so far. In terms of other media, I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight. That's the game I've been spending majority of my time playing. Again, I stream on Twitch. I have sometimes been streaming that, or sometimes the other thing I've been doing mostly is sometimes I just start a random game and play it once or twice. But in terms of what I've been playing consistently throughout the month, Dead by Daylight, especially like every Sunday, there's been like a squad of us playing, all booktubers. So Ali from Hardback Order, Vanessa from Paper Fairy, and Ali from the Chaotic Reader, and also Julia has sometimes been joining us and as a killer sometimes, so coming to kill us. So I'll have all of them linked down below. But that's been a lot of fun. I am kind of addicted to that game. But yeah, that is all the media. That's pretty much all the media that I consumed in March. So that will be the end of this wrap up, I guess. Let me know what was your favorite thing that you read, watched, or played in March, or if you have consumed any of this media and what you think of it. And yeah, that'll be it for me today. Stay safe, stay educated, and Starzy out.